We are delighted to welcome Ignacio Galan, Executive Chairman of one of Spain's largest and most successful multinational companies, the renewable energy giant Iberdrola. Mr. Galan has led Iberdola through a period of unprecedented growth and success since 2006, and has received numerous honors and accolades for his leadership. I should also say that on behalf of the GSG, we are most grateful for Iberdrola's sponsorship of this summit, and we are truly honored to have you, Señor Ignacio, with us today. Bienvenido. Gracias.
So good morning. Buenos días. I think it's the first point I've been from, not from 2006, I've been from 2001. Thank you very much, because you made me younger. Thank you. Well, I would like to start thanking ESG for inviting me to the summit, and very especially to Sir Ronald Cohen. We had a very interesting meeting a few months ago in Madrid, in my office, and Neil Hart as well for his presence in this event. I think I was requested to share with all of you my views how an industrial companies can create a real global positive impact in our societies. So I will focus, of course, in the track record of Iberdola, a company which has a history of 120 years, which I joined, as I mentioned, in 2001. So I think it looked yesterday, but I've been already for almost 23 years in job. So I just joined the company just a few years after Kyoto Protocol was signed by 35 countries to alert of the risk of the climate change. We understood that global warming was a threat, and the energy transition was a moral obligation and could also be a huge business opportunity. Because thanks of the technology improvements, electrification with clean energies would be the most efficient way to not only to reduce emission, but as well to increase energy self-sufficiency. We have seen already in the last year the crisis we suffer as consequence of this lack of self-sufficiency in certain European countries. At the same time, to improve competitiveness. This will drive massive investment in renewable, but also in networks and storage, and could generate a great job creation and wealth for the countries. Under those bases, our board approved my first strategic plan for 2001-2005. The first thing we did is to define the values to guide us in the execution. Values such as work, ethics, effort, team spirit, loyalty, transparency. With still today, after 23 years, we keep with the same values in our day-to-day work. We decided at that time to invest 16 billion euros in clean technologies and to invest as well in new geographies with a target to doubling the size and the result of the company. This was not an easy and very easy in every traditional industry. Many investors were skeptical. I remember my first roadshow was just precisely after September 2001. You can imagine what the level of depression the investors were already when somebody is coming with new ideas. But we had already some things to make it happen. We have people open to face new challenges and innovation. We have already in the company a culture of efficiency and austerity. Traditionally, our sectors has been already state-owned. Our company never was a state-owned. Was a company since 1903, we was founded, always was a company private-owned. So I think for us the sense of efficiency and the sense of austerity is part of our roots. And we have already a small balance sheet. We were already a company, we were already on the number 30 or number 35 worldwide. But we have because of this private-owned style, we have a healthy balance sheet, a small but healthy balance sheet. And the result of all these things is in 2001, we more than reach all our targets. We more than double our size, and we more than double our results. And we achieved already as well the targets of decarbonization. But we did not stop there. In 2006, we started a major internationalization process. Our international business, in 2001, only contributed to 1% of our results. Today is 2/3. It's coming for countries like United States, UK, continental Europe, mainly France and Germany, Brazil, Mexico, Australia, etc., etc., etc. In these last 22 years, we have already closed all our oil and coal power plant. We have 0 coal in our power generation. We have multiplied the number of employees by 4. We have invested more than 150 billion euros in the period. Invested in renewable energies, initially in offshore wind, then in solar photovoltaic, solar PV, and now offshore wind. We are one of the largest worldwide as well in this segment. As well, we invested in electricity networks. In this 15 years ago, the Wall Street Journal said networks will enter in a debt spiral, think that networks is going not to be needed. Even they will say like that one, we continue with our trend of investing in networks because we are absolutely convinced that without a strong and reliable networks, the energy transition would not happen. You need to connect customers, to connect the new power generation. So today, everybody consider then the networks is the backbone of this energy transition. Even people like Bill Gates said about networks, there is the key clean energy future, so for the energy future. So certain, it was already a priority for us. Now we are serving more than 100 million people worldwide through our grids in the different countries. Also in the storage, now people start talking about the storage. We started investing mostly in pumped hydro, transforming our hydroelectric power plant has been built for the last 100 years in pumping and generators, so making reversible. Also in batteries, I think we are in many countries with those things. In this moment, the result of that one is, in this moment, we are the largest utility in Europe for market cap. We are the second largest worldwide, with a total market cap on the range of 70 billion euros. As I mentioned, when we were already in the 2001, 20 years ago, on the range of the 30, so which I think that means then this approach was already positive. So we have already, during this period, multiplied our asset base by 7 times. As I mentioned, we serve 100 million people in dozens of countries, from United States, UK, Germany, France, Brazil, Australia, etc., etc. And we have already this, now that people start talking about the storage needs, we have already capacity for more than 100 million kilowatt hours, which is enough power for charging 2 million cars at a time. So which I think is a huge one. So as you can see, this remarkable history in terms of growth, but also it's in terms of impact for our stakeholders. Because delivering this impact and reporting on it are key pillars of our governance model. Many years ago, we started talking about social dividend, when nobody talked about those one. Even we included in our bylaws this concept in 2017. In our bylaws is included. It obliges us as much as financial dividend, and it's structured in several indicators. Now it's much easier, based on the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, which are also part of our governance system. Every quarter, we disclose our progress in measures, with the standard measures, in all these indicators. In our annual shareholders meeting, I spend more time reporting on them than our financial results, which I think the investor normally knows very well our financial results, because media systematically report about them, not so much about the ESG, the achievement. This social dividend for us means, for instance, that our emissions today is only 60 grams per kilowatt hour. It's 75% less than the average of our competitors. And we have already the target to be 0 by 2030. We have an annual tax contribution above 7.5 billion euros worldwide. We make an annual investment in R&D on the range of 400 million euros, becoming, according with data of the European Commission, the private utility more investment worldwide in this segment. Each year, we make purchase of goods and services for 18 billion euros, which to thousands of suppliers, with altogether sustain more than 400,000 jobs worldwide. We make an average of 5,000 new hires annually in the different countries. We are increasing diversity. Today, in our company, we have 90 different nationalities represented in our workforce with different skills and from various generations, cultures, and race. And we have a firm commitment to learning and development with almost 70 hours per employee per annum. I think in this sense, I'm especially proud, we have already built the best-in-class education infrastructure, so close to Madrid, and we have another one in other countries, but this particular is one of my jewels because I was really dedicated a lot of time, a lot of effort for spending, and we spent 300 million euros on it. It's a huge campus with 180,000 square meters, with buildings, locations, laboratories, etc., which every year is passing through more than 13,000 people, more than 13,000 employees. We have already a foundation. We dedicate in the range of 20 million euros per annum to make already for social activities in different areas. And something which I'm very especially as well enthusiastic is the level of voluntary people in the company. More than 10,000 people in the company are dedicating the free time to help another one in countries like Somalia, Mexico, Brazil, etc., or integrating immigrants in Spain. There are many of those things, but I would like to summarize certain of these things we are making. We create in Brazil a special school for electrician girls, because we have a school of electrician boys, but I think girls, they were not coming to this school. We're making a special for them, which now they are passing hundreds of this one, very well prepared. And certain of those girls, which are become electricians, now are already studying engineering, which I think that is a very, very attractive thing. So even all those social things, as well, the shareholders has been benefiting. So the total return of our shareholders in the period is on the range of 800% in the period since 2001. So social are not against returns for shareholders. Are both of things are absolutely combined. So I am convinced that we will never obtain this profitability without this model that considers same shareholders' return and social dividend, as I mentioned. I think in the last years, our approach has been recognized by prestigious institutions. For instance, Harvard Business School recently has already published a case study on Iberdrola called Leading Energy Revolution. I was already just making a speech similar to that one to the student of the business school. I was impressed about the level of knowledge of these young people. As well, the World Jurists Association, which awarded Iberdrola with a Medal of Honor for our corporate governance and defense of the rule of law. Of the Institutional Investor Research Group, which in the last annual ranks Iberdola and our board of directors at the top of management, the best in the sector in Europe. But this recognition only has value if we maintain this path in the future. So I think we are proud what we had already done, but it's not enough. And as you know, in the last 2 years, the energy sector has suffered several turbulences. Huge price volatility, uncertainties about energy supply, negative impact in the balance of payment of many countries, an increase in emission and pollution. Also, and that is very important, affecting the competitiveness of companies and above all, to the most vulnerable citizens. Most are consequences of the excessive dependence of fossil fuels. Because today, the world still depends on oil, gas, and coal for 80% of the world energy consumption. But electricity only represents 20%. The solution is, for me, is clear, for me and for many people. It's a faster expansion of the electrification with renewable sources. A couple of weeks ago, I was invited by United Nations Secretary General to the New York Climate Week in New York. It was there many relevant economies reaffirmed their commitments with decarbonization, announcing climate plans for the future. But, as Antonio Guterres said, time is already against us. We need to act today, not just in 2040, 2050. Almost everybody agrees about 2050. But when we talk about 2024, the things are not already the same. So he was already insisting precisely in this concept. The time is already against us. Some countries are progressing on energy policy, like the United States with the Inflation Reduction Act, or the European Union with REPowerEU or with the Fit for 55. As well, the industry agents are also ready to accelerate. The Global Renewables Alliance set a new target to triple global renewable energy capacity for 2030. This will require multiply by more than 3 the current investment levels in renewables to reach $1.5 trillion per annum and duplicate investment in electricity network for $600 billion annually. This may seem a huge challenge, but now we need to revitalize our economies. It's also a great opportunity, that it was already in 2001 for Iberdrola, to increase our efficiency, reduce energy imports, and have stable energy prices. At the same time, creating new industries, technologies, and jobs. In other words, to create more positive social impacts for everybody. But not a single company can achieve this alone. At Iberdola, we do our part. We will do our part, as we have already done in the past. Our plan for the next 3 years considers investment of 47 billion euros in the period. Like 20 years ago, besides financial target, we have selected 100 indicators on a major ESG aspects. And we have produced a climate action plan and biodiversity plan for which United Nations has recognized Iberdola as the first mover and doer during the last General Assembly. And we will continue measuring and disclosing our progress in those plans. We have started publishing an annual environmental report in 2001, so many, many years ago. Before the reporting standard were created. For this reason, the League of American Communication Professionals considers Iberdrola the best utility in the world on ESG information disclosure, and the first company of all the sectors in Europe. And we are not implementing all this plan alone. We are creating and reaching major alliances with large sovereign funds like Qatar Investment Authority, Norges Bank, GIC from Singapore, Masdar, etc., etc. With oil companies like British Petroleum, with car manufacturers like Volkswagen. We also signed a major agreement with leading global corporations like Amazon, Meta, Mercedes, Heineken, or Google, who want to decarbonize their operation. So let me conclude this message with optimism. We have major challenges, but we also have all tools to face them. The experience of Iberdrola shows that with a clear vision, strong values, and committed team, huge transformation is possible. And as we have seen today, there are many credible agents across the industries willing to join efforts. Of course, different sectors and geographies may need different measures, but let me share with you 4 general principles applicable to all of them. First, coherence. Once you have a plan, you cannot change direction because the short-term turbulences or the position of third parties. I think that is what's been seen during last year because of this energy crisis in some countries. Second, execution. Always stick your key target, but preserve sufficient flexibility on the way to reach them. Third, transparency. Measure the impact of your activities and communicate them openly. Fourth, ESG commitment. Put the delivery of tangible benefit for everyone at the core of your action. I'm convinced that, as Ronald Cohen says, by applying these principles, we will move from just minimizing harmful outcomes to create positive impact. Thank you very much for your attention.